Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM, we want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SiriusXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
Imagine waking up to the biggest names in morning entertainment: Howard Stern, Today Show Radio, news from CNN, Fox News, Bloomberg, NPR, or sports talk on NFL, MLB, NASCAR radio, and more. Visit www.SiriusXM.com/go to sign up online quickly or call 844-711-8800 now. Activate your radio and begin exploring more than 140 channels.
Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM, we want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SiriusXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
From the bustling streets of Lagos to the favelas of Rio, SiriusXM Tropics is a melting pot of rhythms from Africa, the Caribbean, and beyond. Get away to Tropics, one of more than 200 extra channels available in the SiriusXM app, and all week long starting tomorrow on Channel 105 on most radios.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs, and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 08662.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me, and people who love the universe. And that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! Ooh, it's Big Lock in the morning. Well, as I told you before, I was voted the neighborhood spokesperson by the neighborhood. And just because they didn't vet who I was, they get stuck with a loudmouth. If you like a loudmouth moving in, then I'm your guy. I'm your guy. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I want to say on a beautiful Happy Friday, August the 2nd, in 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit you where the good Lord split you. And hopefully the good Lord didn't split you too wide, because I see a lot of people walking around with a very wide split. Blame it on the double-double. I'll have a double-double, please, but I'll have a Diet Coke. A double-double with a Diet Coke, that's an oxymoron. I want a double-double, and I just want a Coca-Cola, if that makes sense to you. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. What a beautiful day on a Friday in Denver Hills, California. A lot of good things happening. We have the Olympics across the world. In Paris, France, parlez-vous français? Oui, oui, Big C Sports. I think that's the only French I know. I do want to say, if you know French, you can say Big C Sports in French. They have the. I can't wait to see Sha'Carri Richardson. I know she's qualified to run over the weekend in the 100 meters. She's amazing. And then also they got the men doing their thing over there in Paris, France. Of course, you got the gymnastics team doing their thing, rising and shining. Our swimmers are doing great. There's a lot of great things going on. A lot of the United States athletes doing their thing. Also, we got NFL. Are you ready for the football? Stand up for the kickoff. Football's ready. Had a game in Canton, Ohio last night, postponed because of weather. Chicago, and also the Good Boys from Houston. And obviously, it's just a Hall of Fame game. Not much to do about nothing. Didn't really go over. They had to cancel that game halfway through because of the weather. At the same time, I know NBA basketball is fantastic. Got the men team over in Paris, France. And they're trying to beat somebody. They're going to try to do their thing as well. So really looking forward to that. I got my own story that I want to talk about when it comes to sports. From sea to shining sea, we got to chant USA, USA, USA. And I look forward to that. You know, I'm the only sports show in the universe. On every show, I pay homage to California Reparations Task Force because a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and you don't want to waste your mind. In fact, I got a funny story today. I was walking into a bank because I want them to do work with the Big C team, and as I walked into the bank, I was able to speak with the vice president of banking in the Northern California branch, and they're going to do some work with the Big C team with all of our estate planning, and also sometimes they need gap funding called best line funding, and so making that conversation happen with them. But I walked into a bank that used to be a pretty good sized bank, and now I walked into, just walking into the bank, black man walking through the bank, I was welcomed with a locked door. A locked door! Yeah, the door was locked. Because when I went to that bank about a year ago, it was a large bank. Well, they kind of shrunk in size a little bit. And they had what's called a mental ward. Mental ward? Yeah, they had a mental ward. The doors were locked. I couldn't get in. At first, I was offended that they locked a black man out of the bank. And then I said, after I realized it was a mental ward, then I was glad they did not let me in. They said, you're not qualified for mental counseling. We could all be qualified for mental health counseling. I'm telling you, it's a strange new world. I was mad they wouldn't let me in, and then I was glad that they didn't let me in. That makes sense, yeah. I love doing Big C Sports Podcast. It's always a different show. I want to say I produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives. I know I could use more laughter. And then, not only that, the commercials are done. The stats are provided. I even do the storytelling. And then I do the play-by-play. Steph Curry for 3. Yes! Get the hole in your life. NBA basketball is amazing. They have so much talent on Team USA. Even some all-stars can't get in. It was like me trying to get to the mental ward. They would not let me in, which made me feel good. Because you never thought, at least I'm speaking for myself, when I want to walk into a bank and it says open, you would think they'd let you come in. And I was a little bit perturbed when the doors were locked. They locked the doors on me. Like the Gap Band had a song back in the day that said, you dropped a bomb on me, baby. You dropped a bomb on me. Well, they wouldn't let me in. And I'm glad they did not let me in because they said I'm not qualified for mental health. They said I don't need help. I said, speak for yourself. Come on, tell me I don't need no mental help. I know what's going on in my mind. You're all involved in mine. I might need some help. If that makes sense to you. In fact, I heard some radio stations up here. They're playing skits from Star Wars and Star Trek. May lightning strike. Where have they heard that? With the Big C team and the RDC team. What do you mean I don't need mental help? Are the audio involved in mine? Open these doors now. Open these doors now. Life is so funny. And then the show's uploaded to 29 podcast applications out of New York City. Don't tell me I don't need mental help. I know what I'm talking about, if that makes sense, dear. And sometimes I find myself talking to myself. You better believe I might need some mental help. It's all fair and level war. It's streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. And number 10, I never missed a show since doing Big C Sports with the crew back in the day at Salem Media. And now we have people who miss practice. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about practice. Now we have people who miss practice. The great Allen Iverson, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. But not only that, I want to make sure that I pay homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. They will stand on their head to get you some help. If you know anybody going through issues, pick up the phone. Call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give it some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. And it's especially nice when somebody's leaning back. Now, if they don't lean back and they say you can't get to the mental health ward, then you just got to count your blessings. They would not let me in. They said I wasn't qualified for mental health. Can you believe that? I said, you're out of your fucking mind. Let me in. And then I realized it was not a bank. It was a mental health ward. Oh, Lord have mercy. You got to be there to see it, if that makes sense. I do want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said reparations now, reparations forever. And then God said let there be light. And that's my story that I'm taking with it. But God did say let there be light. And I want to shine light on the world with Big C Sports Podcast. That's important to me. It's so important. I love talking about it on every program that I do. And also with Big C Sports, there's always opportunities to grow and expand your brain. Also, there are companies that I'm looking at, maybe doing some joint venture with them as NFL season kicks off. And in September, obviously we have preseason starting right now. But I'm going to keep my mind open to it, because they say a mind is a trouble thing to waste. And I don't want to waste my mind. But backed by a popular man, and I think somebody tried to steal my thunder, because I hear a lot of sports shows now they're doing Star Trek and Star Wars skits. You gotta say welcome to the show. They're saying that too, but I want to say pay attention, because there may be a quiz. Now some people say there's a warning. I want to warn you. Remember, Real Riders, robot warning. I gotta warn you. Some people say I talk too fast. Yeah. And then some people say they say I talk too slow. Too slow? Yeah. That means you cannot say the right thing to the wrong person, and you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Let God guide your ways. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, pay attention, because I said there may be a quiz after I tell you this, and not everybody's going to pass this test. You better believe not everybody's going to pass this test. Because some people just they're not good at test taking. And they said I didn't qualify for mental health. Can you believe that? I said, are you out of your fucking mind? And then I realized it was not the bank. It was funny to me. I wanted to talk to the manager. They said you can't talk to the manager. You don't have the qualifications. You don't seem like you need help, sir. I said, speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. Oh, happy Friday. A guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth, Resource Development Consulting, Inc., in conjunction with the law office of Scott Thibodeau and the law office of Attorney George Jones. The Missing Link, Long-Term Care, Solutions by the Book, over 3 decades of experience helping seniors get their benefits. Medicare and You, Taking Care of Tomorrow. In California, it's called Medi-Cal. Other places, it's called Medicaid. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options by calling 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. Having a large event coming up in Northern California, in Denver Hills, California, in September. So maybe I talk too loud when I say if you need some mental help, call 800. Lord, I gotta stop. Oh, 800-772-8624. Our promise to you, specialized to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets, if that makes sense here. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by our staff of entitlement specialists, ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medications, and medical equipment costs. Have you ever known anyone to need skilled nursing facilities? Have you ever known anyone to need medical prescriptions? You know, like the ones you took this morning. Have you ever known anyone to need medical equipment? And more. Not only that, protection of your assets, if that makes sense to you, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family. That's important. I remind myself many, many times when I said, and maybe the reason they didn't let me into that mental health facility is they heard me talking to myself. I was saying long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the USS Starship Enterprise was on a 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no man had gone before. May lightning strike! It said warp speed straight ahead. So as they came out of warp speed, they cruised into this new galaxy. And this galaxy had about 9 planets, and one was a beautiful, big, shining planet. And Captain Kirk said, well, hey, that's a peculiar-looking planet. It's beeping. And Scotty said, yeah, Captain, it is a peculiar-looking planet. It's shiny and black, and it is beeping. And Spock said, yes, I would like to give it the Vulcan mind meld. And then Captain Kirk said, well, maybe we should just be cautious, you know, like a business owner that wants to protect their assets. Maybe we should raise our shields. And Captain Kirk said, yeah, Scotty, why don't you just raise the shields? And Kirk said, Scotty, are you listening, Scotty? Are you audio Vulcan mind? Raise the shields! And Scotty said, Captain, it's only a shining black planet. Don't be racist. Racist, you got nothing to do with it. Raise the shields. And Spock said, but Captain, I would like to try the Vulcan mind meld before you raise the shields, and I can't do it if you have the shields up. And Captain Kirk said, you gotta trust my instinct, raise the shields. And just as they were about to raise the shields, they heard over the command system, hi, this is the command from the USS Starfleet Federation, the Empire. This is Captain Darth Vader, and I have orders for you. Do not raise your shields. That's an order from Starfleet Command. Captain Kirk, Scotty, and Spock, that's an order. Do not raise those shields. And Captain Kirk said, well, how do you know our name? And Scotty said, yeah, how do you know our name? And Spock said, yes, it's illogical. How do you know our name? And right at that time, Darth Vader said, I am your father. Do not disobey your daddy. Do not raise those shields. In fact, if you don't raise the shields, I'm going to offer you a trade. I'm going to give you Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Lando Calrissian, Han Solo. Even I got 2 robots I'll toss in, R2-D2 and C-3PO. And then Captain Kirk said, Scotty, raise the shields on the audio Vulcan mind. And Scotty said, well, that is a pretty good trade, Captain. And Spock said, yeah, that is a pretty good trade, Captain. We're not giving up anything. And he says, Spock, on the audio Vulcan mind, raise the shields. And Darth Vader said, it is an order from Starfleet Command. Do not raise those shields. That's an order. Join the dark side. I am your father. If you search your feelings, you can feel it. And Captain said, you're not my dad. And then Scotty said, yeah, my dad left a long time ago. And then Spock said, yeah, my dad's green. And Captain Kirk said, are you audio Vulcan mind? Raise the shields. So they decided to raise the shields because they trusted the instincts of the captain. And right as they raised the shields, he said, light speed straight ahead. Would you believe the Death Star was about to fire on the USS Starship Enterprise? But because he had a trust, like a lot of smart business owners, when the lawyers come after your assets, if you have a trust in place, then they may not get to your assets, if that makes sense to you. And they were able to live to see another day. And we offer the same trust with the RDC team, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program, can be from 10 to 40%. If you don't have a will and a trust, the probate court, they're like Darth Vader. They will come after all your assets. You gotta have a will and a trust, and that keeps you protected, like the USS Starship Enterprise. A one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. Not only that, I'm not done yet. Someone says, well, why would I need a trust? I already have insurance. Why would I need a trust? Well, a trust gives you the protection. We have insurance coverage required by a law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care. Avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, aid, and attendance. And then we have pre-planning to avoid the look-back period. There's no look-back in California. A trust protects your fixed assets, like the razors that you shave with in the morning. If you have a little bit of razor cream, you can protect your face, thereby protecting your assets. But a fixed asset, your bank account, your checking account, savings account, money market account, certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, your fixed index annuities. A trust also protects your variable assets, like the USS Starship Enterprise. They raise the shield to protect your assets, your real estate, your qualified money, your IRAs, 401ks, and other investments. As I mentioned earlier, avoid capital gains. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000. And then 1 year later, that house appreciates to $1 million. According to a lot of real estate brokers who try to make a sale, you avoid capital gains when you have a trust. Attention business owners. Attention business owners. This is an order from Starfleet Command. Raise the shields. Do not raise the shields. You got to trust your instinct and raise the shields, if that makes sense to you. Over 3 decades of experience, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. You got to call 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624, and just tell them Big C sent you. And when someone says, Big C, why would we trust you when I have a friend? He also does asset protection. Well, you can have a friend that does asset protection, but ask them when they offer their protection, who endorsed what they're telling you. We have endorsements. A lot of companies don't give you their endorsements because they don't have any. Do not raise the shields. Raise the shields. Which side do you listen to? The Empire or the Federation? We're like the Starfleet Federation. We have the endorsements of the late James Gomez, who advised 4 governors in California and led change in nursing homes. He also served on Golden One's board of directors. That's the late James Gomez. He was also the CEO of the California Association of Health Facilities. He endorsed the RDC team, did his thing for over 21 years. But not only that, we have the late Robert Carlson. He was a top legal counsel for CalPERS. He endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have some great endorsements. Attorney George Jones, the chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, also the California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. He endorsed the RDC team. Not only that, we have Mr. Leon Woods, Resource Development Consulting, works with many of the top lobbyists in California. He endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have Miss Cheryl Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. She endorsed the RDC team. Not only that, we have Mr. Ray De La Cruz. He's the CEO of Resource Development Consulting. Not only that, we have Mr. Alex De La Cruz. He's the founder of American Benefits. He endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Charlton Curry, the co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project. Also, the owner of Big C Sports Podcast, heard all over the universe. And also, business development consultant with the RDC team. Co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project. But not only that, we have Double O, co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project. She's at the payout committee. And she has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. You can Google it on Access Sacramento. She's also a consultant with the RDC team, and she endorses the RDC team. You got to give it all some praise. I say give it praise. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. You know who also endorses the RDC team? Captain James T. Kirk, the commander of the USS Starship Enterprise. Why would you say that, Big C? Because he said, raise the shields. You got to raise your shields called a trust. Because you business owners, those lawyers are like Darth Vader. And they're coming to get all of your assets, if that makes sense to you. If you raise the shields, you're protected. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I got to tell you, I love doing the Big C Sports Podcast. And I would say I'm one of the only sports shows in the universe that pays homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and I don't want to waste my mind. Just like I thought I was walking into a bank today, and it was a mental health facility, and they said I don't qualify. I said, are you out of your fucking mind? Of course I'm qualified. We can all use some mental health at times. I can speak for it. I have proof. I have proof. We could all use some help with mental health. But I do want to say also, because today's a great day on a beautiful Friday in Dimmitt Hills, California, I want to pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. If you know who President Abraham Lincoln was, America's 16th president, and if you know the inimitable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., they had the same mindset. And part of that mindset is what you're going to hear as I endorse the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I want to give praise to the inimitable Dr. Shirley Weber, the Secretary of the State of California, because she worked with the California Governor, Gavin Newsom, to come up with the California Reparations Task Force. It's over 1,065 pages, if that makes sense to you. And then I want to give praise to the chair, Camila Moore. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. Now, she's an attorney that specializes in reparative justice. She photobombed my picture at a reparations task force. I got it on tape. So hopefully she'll photobomb the Big C Sports podcast too. She's a brilliant mind. As you know, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I'm going to give praise to Dr. Amy C. Brown, the vice chair of the California Reparations Task Force. He's also been on the Big C Sports podcast, and he also supports reparations. I love giving him praise. I'm going to give praise to California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. Love giving him praise. I met him many times at California Reparations Task Force, and also many times in his office. He also sponsored Name, Image, and Likeness that helps college student athletes get paid. You're going to hear more about that when college football kicks off, about Name, Image, and Likeness. He's the one that crafted that bill. He's also part of the California Reparations Task Force. He spoke to the California Senate and the legislators when he offered Senate Bill 1331, 1403, and 1050. He was like Moses. When God told Moses, he said, go down into Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And Moses said, well, who do I tell him sent me? And God said, tell him I am sent you. And Senator Bradford did the same thing when he spoke to the Senate and the legislators at the state capitol. God was talking to Senator Bradford, and he said, go down into California, into the state capitol, and tell them I said, pass reparations. And Senator Bradford said, well, who do I tell him sent me? And God said, tell him I am sent you. You know, they're working on that bill as we are speaking. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love giving them praise. I'm going to give praise to Council Member Monica Montgomery Stepp. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to our attorney, Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. She's a specialist when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion that Project 2025 wants to get away with. And I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California Berkeley. He's brilliant. And I want to give praise to attorney Donald K. Tamaki, part of the California Reparations Task Force. He's brilliant. As a Japanese American, his ancestry got reparations for being in the internment camps. Our Native Americans got reparations. That's why you go gambling at these casinos. And also, the Just Act. Descendants of Holocaust got reparations. It was black soldiers that helped liberate and end the terror of Nazi Germany. They did not get the GI Bill when they came back home. And the Homestead Act of 1862 gave white people over 300 million acres of land. And even white Europeans. They told African Americans, they said no. Reparations is necessary because it's always right to do the right thing. I want to let you hear the greatest speaker in the history of this country when it comes to reparations.
Martin Luther King, we had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, you know, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, you know, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
The problem. At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America. And it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, you know, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the and didn't just steal it. I mean, murdered them murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. You know, it's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
Reparations now, reparations forever. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Reparations forever. Now that you've heard about the reparations, I've talked to you about doing the right thing, going into a bank, and they would not let me in. And they said it was for people who needed mental help. I said, "Audioti Volkenmine, can't you tell I need some help?" But from there, we're going to go across the pond to the Olympics. I want to play some highlights of some of the events that have happened that are going to lead up to this culmination of greatness and the track and field events.
Final of the women's 200. Thomas in 8. Sha'Carri Richardson in 6. Sha'Carri making sure she stays away from that line. Gabby Thomas on the outside has caught and passed the person to the outside.
The Tokyo 200 meters bronze medalist dazzled with a top time of 21.81, affirming her status as one of the premier sprinters on the global stage. Thomas's triumph wasn't just about personal glory. It was a testament to her relentless dedication and perseverance.
This morning, it was ready, set, Sha'Carri time. Sha'Carri Richardson's Olympic debut lasting just over 10 seconds.
But now Sha'Carri Richardson ahead of the pack.
Easily winning her heat, advancing to the 100-meter semifinals. After a positive test for THC caused her to miss the Tokyo Olympics, Sha'Carri's smooth run, the start of what she and the U.S. team hope will be a string of golden victories. In Paris, America is ready to lead the pack again after winning just 2 gold medals in relay events in Tokyo. Noah Lyles is primed to cement his title as the world's fastest man, looking to double in the 100 and 200. Noah telling Hoda last week he's planning to take home some hardware.
I was asking how many Olympic medals can I carry through security before they stop me at the airport. However many that is, that's how many I want.
And then there is the otherworldly brilliance of Sydney McLaughlin-Livroni.
It's a world record in the last event of the trials. Sydney's done it again.
The 24-year-old set a 400-meter hurdles world record at the U.S. trials a month ago, her 5th world record in the event. The U.S. team is stacked with all-stars. Gabby Thomas, the U.S. women's hope in the 200 and the world's fastest epidemiologist, is trying to become the first female Harvard graduate to win a gold medal in track and field.
I really believe that I have a chance, and if I stay focused, I stay disciplined, and go for the gold.
Ryan Krauser already has 2 golds in shot put from 2016 and 2020. A three-peat would be the event's first. And Anna Hall, in her first Olympics at just 23 years old, is a top contender in the women's heptathlon.
The journey to get here has been so much harder than I ever imagined, and I'm just so thankful that we finally made it.
A crop of American superstars ready for their crowning moments on the Olympic stage.
Now Now, it won't be easy for Team USA to get back to the top of the podium. There are strong international contenders in just about every event, from Jamaican sprinters to Norwegian middle distance stars. But after the U.S. has really dominated the last couple of world championships, they are coming in here to this good-looking purple track with a lot of confidence. They're ready, guys.
All right, Kaylee Hartung. Kaylee,
it has to be stylish. We're in Paris. And joining us now to break down the track and field action, the legendary Allison Felix, a 7-time gold medalist, the most decorated track and field athlete of all time. Allison, moment of silence, because this is the first Olympics in 20 years where you haven't been competing. So just honoring that incredible history that you have. But what's it like to watch the Olympics from this vantage point?
Thank you. It is quite odd. I keep feeling like I should be getting ready for something. But no, it's amazing to be here with my family, to have my kids here and be able to take it in from their eyes. So, I'm enjoying it.
It must be fun to see some of these young runners who are coming up. Sha'Carri Richardson, there's so many names. Tell us what you see through your lens.
Yeah, I'm excited. You know, a young team, a team that is so talented. I look at athletes like Gabby Thomas and I see a bit of myself in her. She's so versatile. She's ready. She's confident. So excited for them to have their big moment.
And you're not just here to cheer on Team USA. I understand that you are partially responsible, if not primarily responsible, for this over in Athletes Village. You've created a nursery for parents.
I love that.
For children.
Yeah, I'm so proud of it. It's a family space sponsored by Pampers, and it's a place where parents can bring their babies and experience bonding time and just time away from all the pressure of the games in the Olympic Village.
What are you hearing from the athletes? Because we've never had that before, and there are a lot of Olympic moms, obviously. What are you hearing from them?
I'm hearing good things. They're enjoying it, which just warms my heart. Lots of babies have been through, lots of small children, and they're ready to cheer on their parents as well.
Well, let's go back to the track. Who are you looking at? I mean, we hear about Noah Lyles and Sha'Carri Richardson. Those are the big names. Who are others that we should be watching out for?
Yeah, Anna Hall looks really great in the HEP. As I mentioned, Gabby Thomas in the 200 meters. Shelly Ann Fraser-Price is someone who you can never count out in the 100. She has so much experience. Ellie St. Pierre, she's a mom. She's ready to go. So we have no shortage of athletes who are ready to perform.
And your alma mater's got quite the showing on that team,
too. We do. USC has a ton of athletes who are here. We have Rai Benjamin in the 400 hurdles, who I think it's his time to shine. So I'm excited to see him. Anna Cockrell, Jasmine in the 400 hurdles as well. So a lot of great athletes ready.
So let's talk about you in the IOC. You're actually up for an election as part of the IOC. Tell us about that.
I am, yes. I was appointed, and so that's how we were able to bring the family space to the village. But now I'm up for election, and so I've enjoyed my time on this commission. So I'm excited to hopefully keep it going if I'm elected.
Well, you're doing good things,
You're out there campaigning. How are you selling yourself?
I am. I mean, I'm counting the nursery as a big win.
So
let's keep riding that. And I really do want to continue to grow it and just be the athlete voice. I'm here to hear their concerns, to see how we can bring change and just listen to make things better.
Yeah, cool.
Can we talk about your shoes for a moment? Sage, your brand. Are these unique to Paris?
They are. So these are a collaboration that we did with a Parisian.
Let's show them, Allison.
A Parisian boutique here, and they're amazing. We also have a Paris collaboration that's a beautiful blue color that honors kind of the first time in 2 decades that I haven't been competing here at the games. And so I'm excited. You know, I get to show up every day and make these incredible shoes for women.
Allison,
they're not sprinting shoes, are they? Are they sprinting shoes?
They're women's running shoes. They're walking and lounging and doing all the other things.
We want to run like Allison Felix.
That's what we want. All right, Allison, thank you.
Do you believe in miracles?
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.
Milady Strike, do you believe in miracles? Even the great Al Roker is paying attention to the Olympics in Paris, France. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love USA track and field. My favorite theme of track and field, seeing the great Alex Felix, 7-time gold medalist. It's amazing how great these athletes are, how determined they are when it comes to Team USA. But I do have to tell you my own personal preference. I really do appreciate the way Sha'Carri Richardson has run up and down the track, an American sprinter. Reminds me a lot of FloJo. She's beautiful with the nails, and the flamboyancy that she shows as a track star, and also her fashion statement that she makes. Sha'Carri Richardson, she breezed into the 100 semis in Paris, France, and obviously she's an American favorite. And I think what she did today, as an American track star, she announced herself on the Olympic stage with a 10.94 to reach the women's 100 semifinals in Paris. The reigning 100-meter world champion, making her the Olympic debut in 2024, carries the tag of favorite for Saturday's final. If you love track and field, if you've been able to get on any track and run up and down the track the way she does, with the flamboyancy of a FloJo from back in the day when FloJo set records at the Olympics in Los Angeles, Sha'Carri is like the reincarnation of FloJo. Richardson's fastest woman of the year, having posted a 10.71 in June. And I'm telling you, this lady has all the you could call it the flair. She's flamboyant. She brings people to the TV set whenever she runs, with her stature and her raw power that she runs down the track with. Really do love watching her run, and I can't wait to see the event over the weekend. The women's 100 semifinals takes place on Saturday as well, with the finals taking place later in the day. And also Jamaica's Fraser Price could be among the sprinters that are out there to try to take down Sha'Carri Richardson. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Do you believe in miracles? Yes, in your life. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I gotta say it also before I touch a little bit on NFL football. Allison Felix, again, 7-time gold medalist. That's amazing. Maybe will not be done again by a track star. But she's out of USC, University of Southern California Trojans. She ran in the Pac-12. But there's a lot of things going on right now with the Pac-12 football and Pac-12 basketball and track and field and baseball. Well, as USC and UCLA, they officially joined the Big Ten today. There's a lot of pain going around through emails, a lot of shock and dismay, a lot of anger around it. And it's amazing that they let it happen. The Pac-12 went away. I don't like it. It's been around for over 100 years. Pac-12, the Conference of Champions. But the University of Southern California and UCLA, they shocked the sports world 2 years ago when the schools announced that they were abandoning their longtime home of the Pac-12 conference to join a sports league based in the Midwest, the Big Ten. The granddaddy of them all used to match the Big Ten champion in football and the Pac-12 champion and Pac-10 champion in football at the Rose Bowl. But now USC, UCLA, Washington, and Oregon have joined the Big Ten. Doesn't make any sense to me, but because they did not have a trust around renegotiating their TV contract, they actually fell apart. And Arizona State went to the Big 12. Utah and Colorado also joined the Big 12. Cal and Stanford joined the ACC of all places. They got to fly across the country to play on the Atlantic Ocean. That doesn't make any sense. And then Oregon State and Washington State, they're still the Pac-2, if that makes sense to you. But the move finally comes official today. A seismic shift that shocked the sports world on the West Coast. Pac-12 peers left behind a digital trail of emails about what happened behind the scenes at UCLA and other Pac-12 schools as the Big Ten welcomes its new members of this week. Those records obtained by many sports companies provide a glimpse into how those initial moves went down. It was in secrecy. It was done in secrecy, in my opinion. We hear about Pac-12 After Dark, where a lot of times their TV would show their games kicking off at 7 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock on the East Coast. How could you gather national attention with a bad Pac-12 media contract that was put together? So the Pac-12 university leaders, they laid flat-footed in dismay and how some West Coast alumni and staff reacted to it. A lot of frustration and anger. If you're a fan of West Coast sports, you have USC, UCLA. Now, if you're a student body and you want to see a football game kicking off later this August, if you play or watch the game at USC, UCLA, you can easily drive up Interstate 5 to go see a game with Cal or Stanford. A little bit further drive, Oregon State, Washington State. You could go south to Arizona State. Now, if you're going to see another an elite game with USC UCLA, you have to go to Lincoln, Nebraska. I believe that's the closest trip. I'll say it again. The closest trip for USC UCLA in the Big Ten is Lincoln, Nebraska. The furthest trip in the Pac-12 was Spokane, Washington, to play Washington State. It's a shame what's happened to the conference. They're in a conference with Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Purdue, Penn State, Rutgers. Doesn't make any sense. So a lot of those connections reported by media, others were not very happy, and many even obtained intel this week after they originally requested in July of 2022 that they were going to move. It doesn't make any sense to me. It kind of just is a slap in the face for Pac-12 fans that can't drive to see a conference game unless you go 1,500 miles to Lincoln, Nebraska. That's a shame in my opinion. Among other details, emails show how then Pac-12 Commissioner George Kalikoff had reasons to wonder if he had been ghosted on a Zoom call scheduled for that day with UCLA Chancellor Gene Block and Southern California President Carol Folt amid reports of their schools leaving. The meeting was scheduled for 3:15 p.m. after waiting until nearly 3:20. It was just it's a shame. They left for the money. A Zoom call or a missed Zoom call should not make a conference a champion that has more championships than any other conference in the country, second to none. They joined a conference that's number 2 when it comes to conference championships, the Big Ten. But the news had caught the Pac-12, the rest of the Pac-12 leadership by surprise, forcing some to scramble back from their summer travels in order to meet online about what to do next. And not surprisingly, the records also indicate that the move was engineered in secrecy long before that, according to cryptic emails from a UCLA attorney trying to schedule in-person meetings with Block. So no matter what you think, the Pac-12 is no more as of today. The details about what happened, it came to a culmination today, leading to the dismantling of the Pac-12, and to me that's a shame. It doesn't make any sense that the Conference of Champions had to disband and go to other conferences where they had fewer championships overall. So the mouth of the people that champion for sports on the West Coast, it was overshadowed by missed Zoom calls. If you have something that important, you want to meet someone in person. Zoom is one thing, but if you're talking about doing away with a conference that's been around for over 100 years, that doesn't make any sense to me. The UCLA and USC in the number 2 media market in the United States, where they could go up to the Bay Area and play Stafford and Cal, and that's like the number 4 to number 7 media market in the United States, depending on what ratings. And now you have to fly across the country, and you'll never play in a bigger market than Los Angeles. Rutgers is in New Jersey, but that's a joke. It's a joke in my opinion. USC, UCLA, they could have had things turn around because the fan base, especially the student body, they can't get on an airplane and fly across the country to see USC or UCLA play at Penn State or Michigan State, Ohio State, or Nebraska. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's a shame. I don't like it, but there's nothing I can do. It's a shame that it happened. It should not have happened. Not for the Conference of Champions. But it's all gone now. There's nothing we can do about it. But it's a shame that it happened. And a lot of grown folks, they let the young people down by not making sure that they stayed together. They could have done that by having more conversations and not doing it in secrecy. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I hate that it happened. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But I do want to say, all's fair in love and war. But I feel hard. And, I just feel a little bit of, it's a shame that it went away. Doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, that's the way sports happens to be, all's fair in love and war. NFL football is back on the scene, and the summer was a little bit too quiet. It's refreshing to see training camps and highlights on social media, and there are preseason games on the horizon. And Thursday's Hall of Fame game was like a Hall of Fame shame. They had to end the game early with Chicago and Houston. At the same time, football's back. It makes things a lot better. I'll get more into it next week as I get into Big C's NFL Power Rankings. But I do want to just talk a little bit about the top about the top 6 teams in NFL football, and just my thoughts coming up. In fact, I'll go the top 10, but I want to do it better justice when I come back next week on Big C's Sports Podcast. I'm going to be talking about the Cleveland Browns. The roster is one of the very best in the NFL. It'll be even better shape if Nick Chubb can get back to his old self or his young self, if that makes sense to you. So I'm going to be talking about the Cleveland Browns coming up next week in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. I'm going to also say, at number 9, I got the Buffalo Bills. You got to give some time to process that touchdown. Stephon Diggs is no longer there in Buffalo. He's moved on. But feeling much better about the Bills. It's true there's no superstar weapon on offense. Having James Cook and then Dalton Kincaid and Curtis Samuel is a decent place to start. You know, you got to realize Josh Allen, he's always been one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks preseason-wise, but just hasn't been able to get over the hill, if that makes sense to you, out of Fireball, California. And then I got to go with the Baltimore Ravens. Touchdown Lamar Jackson. Maybe it feels like they dropped off from last year's AFC Championship game, being the number 1 seed. But you got to worry about the Ravens and what they lost, like a lot of the talent they put together. They got to get together again. Can you have a letdown and make it back into the top 5? That's my opinion. Touchdown Derrick Henry. He's going to be running the rock behind Lamar Jackson, but does he still have the stamina or the testosterone in those legs to make them a championship team again? They got number 7, the Cincinnati Bengals. When you think about the Bengals, they should be better for no reason other than having a healthy touchdown Joe Burrow. Remember, the team went 9-8 despite starting Jake Browning for 7 weeks. I think this team in Cincinnati, they're going to do fine. Jake Browning is actually a pretty decent quarterback in my opinion, but you know they want to go with Burrow. I got to go, it's just my opinion, number 6, Green Bay. They broke the bank and given some love to Jordan Love, their quarterback now, and he's going to be making them over $55 million a year. You got to look at also including Josh Jacobs now running the ball behind him. This was a good team in Green Bay. They lost at San Francisco last year in the playoffs, but they knocked off Dallas, and they were able to advance out to play San Francisco where they lost to the 49ers. I got number 5. You saw them last night, the Houston Texans. Life comes at you fast. And this time last summer, the Texans were an afterthought with an unproven quarterback out of Rancho Cucamonga, California, in Ohio State by the name of C.J. Stroud. He's going to lead this team this year. And there's a lot of hype about the Super Bowl. I don't think that's going to happen this year. But the D'Amico Ryans added Daniel Hunter and the Nico Autry and Aziz Al-Shahir to a promising defense. Their defense is going to be stout for those good boys down in Houston. I got to go also number 4, Philadelphia, the Eagles. The Eagles can be, you know, they were in the Super Bowl just a couple of years ago. They ran up into a team that's looking for a repeat. They lost to Kansas City. There's nothing to write home being shame about that. But I got to tell you, this team with the Philadelphia Eagles, touchdown Jalen Hurts, will have a great year coming back. Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, that coaching staff, they're going to try to get this team back into the Super Bowl. I don't think they'll get there this year, but I do think they'll be a big threat again to win the NFC East. And then how about Detroit, the Bad Boys, also known as the Lions? It's not that they had a surprising year last year. They built up to it. Dan Campbell, he's been saying he wants a tough team. He wants winners. He wants people who want to win. The offensive line is elite. The weapons are very formidable. The quarterback is locked in place with Jared Goff out of Moraine Catholic High School in Kentville and Cal Berkeley. He went to the Rams and took the Rams to the Super Bowl where they lost to the New England Patriots. And they want to get Detroit there. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but there's a lot of hype around Detroit. Can they have the same kind of season they had last year? We will see. And I know in Denver Hills people say, well, a three-peat has never happened in the NFL. And it may not happen again. Ever. I got number 2 in Big C's NFL Power Rankings. I'm going to talk more about it next week. The Kansas City Chiefs, the 2-time defending NFL champions, there's never been a three-peat. What else is there to say? They have touchdown Patrick Mahomes. They're trying for a three-peat. That's rarely happened in any division. NBA basketball, going back to the Celtics way back in the day, in the 60s and 70s. But baseball hasn't done it. Football hasn't done it. It's going to be hard to see if the Chiefs can do it. There's a lot of great players in the NFL that have moved around, but I'm going to put them, I won't say a lock to win the AFC, but they'll definitely be in the AFC Championship game again. And then I got number 1, Bang Bang Niner game. There's gold in Denver Hills. The Autumn Wind was a Raider, and he came to pillage. Big C, that's the Raiders. Oh, you're right. The Raiders left the Bay Area. But the 49ers, they got the Bang Bang Niner game, and they're back this year. They are loaded. The 49ers have been to 4 of the past 5 NFC championships. There's no reason to think that they cannot do it again. Provided everybody's happy, they got to get Trent Williams happy. He's holding out for a better contract in addition to Brandon Ayuk, ongoing contract dispute. The only thing stopping the 49ers from another deep run is being together as a unit. I think they'll be in the NFC Championship game again. Will it be a home team? We will see. It depends on how well they gel together. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And as they put in racism on the back of every NFL end zone, they got to start putting reparations at last. Reparations at last. Thank God Almighty. Reparations at last. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love bringing you Big C Sports podcast. I love it. I love the Olympics. I love Team USA. I want to see the men and women track and field as they sprint for gold over the weekend in Paris, France. Parlez-vous français? Big C Sports, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you on every Big C Sports podcast, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car and start driving after they've been drinking. The life you save may be your own, or someone you love, or someone who loves you, or somebody loved by somebody else. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I've been told by my beautiful mother, always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you're going through that crap, you need more LEADER in your life. LEADER is an acronym for love is the answer. If somebody's slapping you, only slap you because it make me mad. Call 911. If somebody's kicking you, only kick you because it make me mad. Call 911. If somebody's choking you out, only choke you because it make me mad. Pick up the phone and call 911. If somebody loves you, they don't hit you, they don't kick you, they don't slap you, they don't choke you, they don't beat you. That's not what people do when they care about you. Walk away. Call 911. Don't let that happen to you or anybody you love. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always say on every Big C Sports podcast, I love paying homage to my beautiful family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandparents called them Mama and Pop. Beautiful, loving, kind people. Love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always had the house smelling good with those collard greens and the ribs. In fact, sometimes going in the backyard, great-grandma's cooking those ribs. She said, boy, do not grab those ribs off that grill. You're going to burn your hands. I said, I don't need a plate, Grandma. I'm hungry now. She said, you're going to burn your fingers. I said, it's worth the burn. It's worth the burn. But then I said, ouch, it's not worth the burn. Love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful grandparents, Mundia and Hezekiah, they were seers. They could oftentimes see somebody and tell you a lot about their past, present, and their future. Love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and also coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always saying rise and shine. The best person I ever met in my life. Mama, you know my praise. I'm always praising. You always say, baby, just pray. Well, I'm praying, Mama, and I thank you for helping me get my prayers answered tonight, if that makes sense to you. Love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. The best person I ever met in my life. On my father's side, my grandparents, Albert and Alberta Curry, they had 3 churches. They owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, and they also owned 40 acres of land. I was 8 years old, walking through the hallway at night, about 10 o'clock at night. You little kids know what I'm saying. And I felt somebody touch me in my forehead. She said, what are you doing, young man? Going to get some more cookies? I said, what are you doing up, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, what are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies? I said, cookies are baby crap. What I'm doing, Grandma, I'm going to get my reparations. But a couple of cookies wouldn't hurt. It's been a long week. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Love my grandparents with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night, always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful brother Todd, with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. A voracious reader, always saying go forward. In fact, he would say don't look back because you don't have much backside back there in the first place. I said, I love my backside, Todd. but I've been doing more squats so my backside can get more tight. You know, some men, the backside used to be like a bubble, and now it's like a deflated bubble. But I got to do more squats. That's my story. I'm taking with it. Love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. When you think about the Olympics, now Todd and I, we love Malcolm X, but one of my favorite movies was Pulp Fiction. There was that scene before the big fight where Ben Rames told Bruce Willis before the big fight. It also had Sam Jackson and Jonathan Bolter. He said, your butt goes down in the 5th round. Say that, flip! And Bruce Willis said, okay, my butt goes down in the 5th round. And he said, that stinging sensation you feeling? Well, that's just pride bubbling with you. And he said what a lot of Olympians going to hear this weekend. He said, pride. Pride only hurts. It never helps. You're going to thank Uncle Marsalis when you chilling in the Caribbean. Now take this bag of money. We all know that Bruce didn't take the bag of money, and he lost his LA privileges. And that's my story, and I'm taking with it. I want to say a love top with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors, in 3.5 years from a major university. Daisy, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. Isaiah 54:17. That no weapon formed against you ever prosper. Daisy set up the very first interview for a Big C Sports podcast back in the days at Salem Media. It became the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. Because of 2 black men in the crew, we were doing our thing, and Daisy set up that very first interview. You can be anything you want, Daisy. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College graduate, very smart, erudite, a good man. Malcolm, you can be anything you want. Always trust God. Isaiah 54:17. That no weapon formed against you ever prosper. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get newspapers and look up stats for the Big C Sports podcast. And one day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. Now on 29 podcast platforms, streaming on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. One day Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. And now we're on 4 TV platforms and having conversations with more TV companies and platforms about being on their platform. And I will see how that happens, if that makes sense to you. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, like my great-grandparents coming out of their barns with their church buddies always saying, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Saying, let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. Let's be nominated. Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no cerebral teleprompters. I have no producer in the ear. All I have is this gland in the brain called the pineal gland. The ancients call it the third eye. They say that's how you talk to God. And that's why I scream so loud so God can hear me. God, you hear my praise. I'm always praising. Just say yes, God. Say yes. You said yes, God. I'm saying yes, too. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you on every Big C Sports podcast, I love paying homage to the 16th President Abraham Lincoln, and Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. You know what they told us? I'm going to tell you after I do what Drew Boudini down told Muhammad Ali. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, he said, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to champion reparations now, reparations forever. And then I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. There was no fighter greater than Muhammad Ali. And now we honor America's 16th president, President Abraham Lincoln, and inimitable Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, when they said, reparations at last, thank God Almighty, reparations at last. Say it 2 more times, like they said in Star Trek and Star Wars. Reparations at last, thank God Almighty, reparations at last. Say it with all your heart, mind, body, and soul, because you know it's going to happen. Reparations at last. Thank God Almighty. Reparations at last. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.